Dear students, the topic of today's video lecture is subjects of the satire. Earlier, we had discussed about satire, that satire is a light form of composition intended to keep the reader in a good humor even when it is at its most caustic. The satire may be inspired by either a personal grievance or a passion for reform. It is an attack on a person or group of persons or on a social evil or folly. It is primarily light literature, hovering at times on the confines of burlesque. It is in the next place intended to ridicule, not to abuse, though it may often be bitter. In general, it hates the sinner, not the sinner, and is more playful than hurtful. Pope, however, often erred in this respect, for in much of his work he showed himself waspish, venomous, malignant. This does not mean that the satirist should mince matters. No satire can be great which is not forceful and outspoken, and some have been crushing. As Shelley said, Byron takes an aim that tempts no second blow. Dryden perhaps hits the hardest, without at the same time degenerating into coarseness and violence. The satire, like an arrow, has to take the shortest route to its target. It must be terse and concise, so as to say a great deal in a brief space. Prolixity destroys its effect. The heroic couplet proved an admirable medium, as we have met. The heroic couplet proved an admirable medium, for it lent itself to easy narrative, forceful expression, and swift strokes of wit. Dryden and Pope used it with amazing skill, and Byron handled it vigorously. The satirist's trade is censure. He condemns whatever he does not approve, and each age has had its own set of vices to ridicule. A satire, like the drama, holds the mirror up to nature and lashes out at contemporary follies and foibles. Chaucer and Langland attacked corruption in the church and other vices such as dishonesty on the part of traders and men of law. The Elizabethans had their own subjects of satire: the courtier, the Puritan, the woman, the affected traveler, the dishonest tailor, etc. The satires proper of Dryden and Pope are more personal, directed rather against men than manners. But the age in which they lived is reflected faithfully in Pope's Rap of the Lock, the works of Swift, and Addison's essays. It was an age of privilege, ceremony, and artificiality, and of bitter political rivalry and controversy. And there was plenty of food for satire, as there was later for Dr. Johnson when he wrote his London. At the beginning of the 19th century, Byron assailed with equal vigor the leg poets, Scotch reviewers, the waltz, the king, and the whole society against whose conventions he had rebelled. We do not think of the Victorian era as a great period of verse satire, but there was in fact much effective work in that form, though as it usually appeared in newspapers and periodicals, which had increased enormously in number, it tended to be brief and ephemeral. This is largely true of our own time. Lengthy works in verse are rare, and satire expresses itself in the contemporary novel and drama. Personal attacks have gone out of fashion, but social conditions and problems and every aspect of modern civilization offer countless subjects to the satirist, and the plays of George Bernard Shaw are an example of how widely and effectively a gifted writer in this realm can range. Thanks.